Kini ang Sayam Corporation. Bantay Radio 97.9. 97.9. Power Radio. Power Radio. Villanueva, Misamis Oriental.
Ang musunod nga tulumanon binayran og ang mga opinyon sulod sa maong tulumanon iya sa mga napasiugda o sa mga bisita niini walay labot ang sibiyahan.
If my people humble themselves and pray, if they seek my face and humble themselves.
Orasyo Emperata.
From their wicked
Diyos among amahan, misangpit kami kanimo niining panahon sa among panginahanglan. Ngaunta mapanalipdan mo kami batok niining hulga sa 2019 coronavirus. Nga mikalas sa pipila na kakinabuhi sa among kaigsuunan ug naghiagom sa kadaghanan. Nagapangalyo po kami sa imong grasya alang sa mga tao nga gitahasan sa pagtuon sa hinungdan niining maong virus nga nagdala sa makalilisa nga sakit. Giyahi ang mga kamot ug lamdagi ang mga hunahuna sa mga doktor nga nagalima sa mga masakiton, subay sa ilang katakos ug dinuyugan sa gugma ug kaluoy. Kanila usab nga mga kawani sa lokal ug nasudnong pagagamhanan ug kanilang mga pribado nga mga ahensya nga nangita og kasulbaran sa maong epidemya. Mahatagan unta sila sa imong Diyos nung lamdag. Nagapangalyo po usab kami kanila nga nahiagom sa maong epidemya. Mahatag unta pagbalik ang kapiskay sa ilang panlawas. Itanyag kanamo ang grasya nga magkahiusa kami sa pagbuhat alang sa kaayuhan sa tanan ug pagtabang sa mga nanginahanglan. Kini among gipangayo pinaagi sa among Ginoong Hesus, imong anak nga nagapuyo ug nagahari uban kanimo diha sa kahiusa sa Espiritu Santo, Diyos hangtod sa kahangturan. Amen. Maria, panabang sa mga Kristiyanos, iampo mo kami. San Rafael Arkanghel, iampo mo kami. San Roque, iampo mo kami. San Lorenzo Ruiz, iampo mo kami. San Pedro Kalungsod, iampo mo kami. Sa ngalan samahan, sa anak ug sa Espiritu Santo. Amen.
Makita ang kalinaw o kabulahanan, kadagayan niya walay kinutuban, manuko iyang kaning pangalan, manoloportis sa asukadungganan. Ang kinatasman ko kinaubsan, nakibisog sa kalangguan, ang iyang halapan yung kaumahan, nagsaysay-say ang kadurahan, nato sa panagiusap mga responsableng katauhan, ipapipapag kung magpatigdait sa tibuok na katilingban, minahal nga Manolo Cortez, matahong namong lungsod nga gipuy-an, kanunay namong pasidunggan, ugan dumon sa kahangturan, minahal nga Manolo Cortez, matahong namong lungsod nga gipuy-an, kanunay namong pasidunggan, ugan dumon sa kahangturan.
Kinasingkasing nga pag-alagad sa unang distrito sa lalawigan sa Bukidnon ni Congresswoman Maria Lourdes Acosta Alba Kauban sa inyong alagad kagawad Honey Pie Pieces.
To everyone who are watching us now from parts of Visayas and Mindanao, welcome to Learning Tuesday. My name is Josh Mahinay and I will be moderating this afternoon's 30-minute discussion. And we are simultaneously streaming live right now on my Facebook public page, Josh Mahinay, and also the public page of Congresswoman Malu Acosta Alba, and on the Facebook group of Freedom for All, which was founded by our guest presenter this afternoon. Now, today's session is part one of a two-part series on financial resiliency. We will be talking about personal or family financial resiliency. Now, over the course of 2 months, the government has allocated billions of pesos for low-income Filipinos to its Social Amelioration Program or SAP to address the impact in crisis that we are still facing today. But the impact of this crisis far extends not only to the poor Filipinos, but also to the middle-income families or the working class. Our guest this afternoon believes that our story could have been a little bit different should Filipinos have been more prepared, especially on the aspect of financial resiliency. Friends, our guest this afternoon is a former seminarian, Order of Augustinian Recollects. He graduated AB Philosophy and Human Resource Development at San Beda University, and he worked as an HR associate for labor relations at San Miguel Corporation for 12 years. And currently, he is taking up Master in Entrepreneurship at Asian Institute of Management. Our guest is a former chairman and president of Rural Bank of Manolo Fortich Incorporated, and he is also currently the chairman of Juan Alba Development Enterprise Incorporated and the chairman of Freedom and Equity Finance Incorporated. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce to you our guest presenter this afternoon, the founder of Freedom for All movement, Sir Joman Alba. Sir, good afternoon. Welcome to Learning Tuesday.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. Welcome to Learning Tuesday. How are you?
Hi, Josh. Good afternoon. Kamusta? Long time no see, ah. Thank you for inviting me your program, Learning Tuesday. And actually, I've been watching your Saturday Night Live last weekend, I think.
Yeah.
And maayong hapon sa atong mga pinalanggang igsuon diya sa Bukidnon. Especially sa First District, no? Sa Manolo Fortich, sa Sanilaw, sa Maungon, Libona, Alakag, no? And sa ating mga friends diya sa Cagayan de Oro City. Magandang hapon din sa ating mga kaibigan sa Manila, sa Visayas, and of course, sa mga kaibigan natin sa Palawan, and sa yung mga followers. Mr. Josh Mahinay. Thank you, partner, for inviting me.
Okay. Medyo naglalag yung audio partner daw, so maybe you can locate a better location within the same room. So again, guys, this afternoon is another relevant discussion that we're gonna be having. But let me just say hi to everyone who are watching us today, who are tuning in. We have few people joining us today. Most of them are probably from the province of Bukidnon, from the first district of Bukidnon. So, maayong hapon sa inyong tanan. Welcome sa ating Learning Tuesday. Now, Sir Joman, let me jumpstart the conversation by asking you this question relevant to my introduction about the financial preparedness of Filipinos. When we talk about financial resiliency, what does it exactly mean, and how do you assess the overall financial resiliency of Filipinos or Filipino families nowadays?
Actually, partner, in a nutshell, no, resiliency is your ability to bounce back, no? At any time na tamaan ka ng, alam mo na, a particular event in your life, that has a direct impact on your income or your assets, no? The question there is, can you bounce back to your original condition prior to that particular financial shock or particular event that happened in your life, no? Like, for example, unemployment, no? all of a sudden nawalan ka ng trabaho, nawalan ka ng income, or if you are married, if something happens to your husband, no, or wife, no, suddenly your spouse, pass away, so breadwinner siya, so kaya ba ninyo na ipagpatuloy ang pamilya, ang interest ng inyong pamilya, considering the financial shock that happened to your family? So resiliency is actually, in a nutshell, your or my ability to withstand, no, life's event that directly impact my income or my assets, no. So that's the short definition of financial resiliency. Now, if I connect it to the issue of this particular situation where we are in right now, the COVID-19 pandemic, I think bago pa man nagkaroon ng pandemic, malaking question na rin ang financial preparedness ng mga Pilipino eh. Kahit walang pandemic, malaking problema na rin natin ang financial literacy, diba? Kasi marami sa ating mga kababayan baon sa utang, no? Marami sa ating kababayan ay hirap na hirap, no? Especially those who are on a daily paid status, diba? Kasi sila yan, no work, no pay. So marami tayong mga workers na alam niyo na yung practice na kina-cash advance pa yung sweldo. So technically, pag nawalan sila ng trabaho, mahihirapan din silang suportahan ng kanilang pamilya. So, going back sa ating situation, dumating si COVID-19. So, mas naging financially challenging ngayon ang ating environment, no? Kasi mahirap na nga dati. Ngayon, mas mahirap pa yung sitwasyon dahil gusto mo man magtrabaho, hindi ka makapagtrabaho kasi pwede yung pinagtatrabahuan mo na restaurant, sarado. Di ba? Yung pinagtatrabahuan mo na mall, sarado. So, because of the stay-at-home policy, no, for the protection of our respective families, na kailangan naman talaga yan, no? So, ngayon, yung mga walang naitabing savings, walang naitabing pera, talagang medyo nahihirapan sila ngayon. Nahihirapan yung ating mga kababayan. That's why, if you notice, ang ating national government came up with that social amelioration program, no, to help the poorest of the poor, no? So that kahit paano maibsan ang kanilang pinagdaraan ng paghihirap or gutom sa ganitong mga panahon. So, ito ay napakagandang opportunity sa ating lahat, no? Sa ating lahat, sa ating mga Pilipino. And I would like to take this opportunity, no, to re-echo, no, our advocacy on financial resiliency, no? Kinakailangan na mamulat na tayo sa sitwasyon nating mga Pilipino na hindi tayo po pwede na ipagsawalang bahala natin ang kinabukasan ng ating mga pamilya. Hindi tayo mag-iimpok, hindi tayo magsisave, and yun yung naririnig natin palagi na bahala na si Batman. So hindi pa pwedeng ganun pa rin ang ating mentality, no? Otherwise, itong laban natin kay COVID, we do not know whether this will end in 5 or 6 or 12 months time, considering the vaccine is, I think, 18 months away. So, according to the medical experts, no. So, I would rather be very conservative, no, in our approach, no, or in my approach, no, as far as financial management is concerned, no, in relation to COVID-19, because I think this will still be a very long game. So, yun. So that's why it's very important now. Today, I'll be sharing with you some of the tips. Actually, there are so many things that we can do to become financially resilient. But for purposes of our discussion this afternoon, I'll be sharing around five items, no, that I think are most relevant to all of us.
Sir Joman, before we go to the presentation on the items that you will be sharing with us, no, I just wanted to pick up from the conversation kanina sa, at the beginning when we talk about the story could have been better, no? Kung halimbawa tayo ay mas naging financially prepared. Based on your observation and during the many years that you've been in the community, I know that you are very immersed in the community. Ano yung assessment mo when it comes to the financial resiliency of many Filipinos? Sabi ba natin na andun na tayo sa level na 30% probably of the Filipinos in the communities na na-encounter mo ay financially educated or resilient? And what could have been the different story sa ating response in this pandemic kung halimbawa andun tayo sa state na we are financially resilient?
Can you imagine, Josh, one of the items that we promote in our movement, Freedom for All, is the establishment of Resiliency Fund. Okay? Resiliency Fund is actually, you compute it by, you evaluate how much is your monthly
Income,
expenditures, household expenditure, no? Your monthly household expenditure times 6 to 8 months, no? So yun yung itatabi mo. Yun ang itatabi mo or i-deposit mo sa bangko, no? Which will serve as your resiliency fund, no? Some of our financial planners, they call it emergency fund, no? So, but I would rather call it a resiliency fund because gives an idea on, no, this is something that I need to do in order to protect my family. No? Hindi lang for emergency purposes, no? But this is something to protect my family in terms of risk management. No? So, can you imagine, kung yung mga Filipino families or tayo, no, nakapag-save tayo ng monthly living expenses natin na 6 to 8 months and then yung pera na yan nasa bangko, no? So meron tayong buffer kahit na 6 to 8 months tayong walang trabaho, meron tayong magagamit na pangtustos sa mga expenditures natin sa ating household, no? So ang ating gobyerno, no, hindi masyadong mabibigatan pagdating sa pagbigay ng ayuda sa atin because alam niya na may pera ang mga tao. So, yung gobyerno, pwede sanang mas na-dedicate sa other items to support our financials, to support our health sector. To support our health sector. No?
Definitely, what you are saying is that kung halimbawa mas naging financially prepared pa yung karamihan sa mga Filipino families, the budget could have been diverted to probably mass testing because up to now we're still struggling to fund the initiative of mass testing. So I think I agree with that. So sir, speaking of the financial resiliency, you know, I know that we will agree to this one, no, na yung economic impact of the COVID-19 crisis, hindi lang siya tumama doon sa mga low-income families or poor families. Actually, right now, we know a lot of middle-income families or working-class families who are still struggling, who are also struggling economically due to the situation that we have right now. So, is it safe to say?
Yes.
Is it safe to say that itong pagiging financially resilient has to really be something that we have to embody? Either we are low-income Filipino family or we are middle class, or even if we are in the class A probably. So this is something that's generic and everybody must practice this one.
Actually, Josh, I believe that financial resiliency should be a core competence of every Filipino. It should be a core competence, no? Kasi uh, money plays a very important role in our life. No? So I think no, whether you are poor or you are very rich, whether you are an individual or you're an organization, no? Kasi pag pinag-uusapan natin financial resilience, even organization should be financially resilient. Organization, no, businesses, no, because for example, mga kaibigan tayo nasa services sector, and prior to this pandemic, their businesses are actually doing well. But nung dumating si COVID-19, all of a sudden, syempre yung sa services sector, close contact yan, di ba? So talagang pinagbabawal talaga sa ngayon because of social distancing. So ngayon, they are, ang operations nila stop for the last 3 months, no? And syempre, they have employees by the hundreds. How can you sustain pagdating sa pagpasweldo sa mga empleyado mo kung wala ka namang pumapasok na income?
Yes.
Diba? So, whether it's an organization or individual, financial resiliency should be a core competence of everybody.
I like that. I like that. Financial resiliency should be a core competence of everybody. Or shall we say every Filipino, right? And so sa lahat
Yes.
ng mga
Whether
lahat ng
you're a
mga-
student, whether you're employed,
Okay, so
Diba?
we have several people.
even if you're a senior citizen, for as long as you breathe, you need to be financially resilient.
Yes. So I right now, sir, we have several people who are joining in the conversation. So let me just say hi to everybody. Sabi ni Glessy Claire Borja, probably Glessy is from Bukidnon. Maayong hapon ninyo. Sabi din ng mga ni Rosemary Fulgar, magandang hapon po. So I have somebody here.
Hi, Glessy.
Glessy, is Glessy from Bukidnon. Good afternoon, Sir Joman, sabi naman ni Edith. So, guys, for you who just tuned into the conversation, ang pinag-uusapan natin dito is financial resiliency. Basically, ang ibig sabihin nito is your financial resiliency is your ability to bounce back when you experience financial shock in your
Yes.
family, no, or when you experience crisis. And this is very relevant discussion now, guys, because we are experiencing the impact of COVID-19 crisis. And a lot of people right now are struggling economically. And kanina nga napag-usapan natin that the government actually spent billions of pesos just to rescue or to help us out or to aid us during this pandemic because a lot of Filipinos are struggling financially. But ang sinasabi ni Sir Joman kanina, the story could have been a little different, no? At ang difference na yon naglalay doon sa aspeto na kung halimbawa tayong mga Pilipino ay mas naging financially resilient, meaning to say we manage our finances properly and we prepare for the
Nag-save
possibility.
tayo.
Yeah, nag-save tayo over the future. The story could have been different, and probably some of the funding
The story could have been less stressful.
less stressful. And,
Yes,
and the government could have funded other initiatives tulad ng mass testing. But right now, of course, the priority, as sabi rin ni Sir Joman, is yung sikmura ng mga tao. Food is the priority right now. So, Sir Joman, I think that we did a little bit of introduction already, and I know that everybody's excited now to learn naman on the basic tips that we can share to people how to be financially resilient. Now, dati iniisip ko na financial resiliency is something that's complicated, no? Pero when I learned about some of the tips, no, na i-share mo ngayon, na-realize ko na it's actually very simple, actionable, and doable by everybody. So, Sir Joman,
yes.
I'll give you the time right now to run us through briefly on some of the tips that you will share with us on how to become a financially resilient individual or Filipino.
Yes, okay. So, actually, Josh, what I'm going to share this afternoon is not really very technical, ano? This is actually common sense nga eh. Common sense nga eh. And I realized that if all of us will do this, then it will be a lot easier, no? Less stressful para sa ating lahat ang mga problema natin sa buhay. Not only ngayong panahon ng ni COVID-19, no? So I'll go through the tips, no? First is before we can do anything, no, I think it's important it's important for all of us to evaluate our current financial condition. So kamusta na ho ba? Kamusta na ho ba tayo? Kamusta ho ba ang ating mga gastusin ngayong panahon, no? So sapat pa ho ba yung ating pera para suportahan ang pangangailangan ng ating mga pamilya, no? Sapat pa ba yung ating o hanggang kailan pa kaya ang ating naitabing pera para sa mga gastusin, no? So you have to evaluate our current financial condition, no? O meron pa ba tayong ano pa ba yung mga sources ng ating income ngayon na 3 months na almost 3 months na tayo na under ECQ or GCQ, no? Kamusta? May pumapasok pa bang kita sa ating mga kababayan? O paano yung mga gastusin natin sa araw-araw, no? So tingnan natin yung we have to check and evaluate our current financial condition, no? So i-compute natin, no? Maybe since ongoing yung stay-at-home policy ng government, maybe we can sit down with our family, no, husband and wife, and and discuss, no, pag-usapan natin sa pamilya yung mga bagay-bagay na may kinalaman sa ating buhay pananalapi, no? So in the next 3 months, may pera pa kaya tayo na para suportahan ang gastusin sa pamilya natin? 3 or 6 months, no? So pag-usapan natin, mas maganda na mga panahon ngayon ay pag-usapan natin kung ano yung ating financial condition. Because this is the best time, no? Sabi nga nila, no, you cannot control that which you do not know. So first is it's very important to know kung ano ang ating situation, financial situation right now. Number 1, we need to evaluate our current financial condition. Magkano pa ba ang ating kinikita? Meron pa bang pumapasok na kita? Magkano ba ang ating gastusin sa loob ng isang buwan, no? And para malaman natin ano yung gap, tayo ba ay short na sa ating gastusin? Kasi kung short na ikaw sa iyong panggastos, ibig sabihin, meron kang pinagkukunan na iyong source, no, ng panggastos. So, posible kung wala kang income, o pwedeng nangungutang ka. So, how long ka o pwedeng makutang considering the current situation, no? So, mas maganda na magkaroon tayo ng better financial situational awareness. Number 1. Number 2, ito yung palagi nating inuulit-ulit, no, sa ating kampanya on freedom for all, no? Yung pag-establish ng tinatawag nating emergency fund, or we call it resiliency fund. So, yung resiliency fund is actually your monthly living expenses, no, times 6 to 8 months, no? So if you have a monthly living expenses of 10,000 times 8 months, so dapat meron kang 80,000 na naka-save or nakalagay sa bangko na which will serve as your resiliency fund or emergency fund, no? So itong emergency fund na to, hindi lamang ito ito yung pera mo na kunan mo ng pera pagka merong mga pangyayari sa buhay natin like unemployment, no? So mawalan ka ng trabaho. So dito natin kukunin yung pangtustos sa ating mga gastusin sa pamilya, no? So kung meron kang 6 to 8 months na resiliency fund, kung nawalan ka ng trabaho ngayon, hindi ka mag-worry kasi alam mo na may pera ka pa na good for 8 months, no? Na buffer fund, no? So habang naghahanap ka ng trabaho for the next 8 months, meron ka pang nakatabing pondo para gamitin ng iyong pamilya. So that's very important, ano? So hindi ma-stress yung misis mo or yung mister mo, no, na wala na kayong pera because meron per fund na tinatawag nating resiliency fund. So ito yung isang purpose ng resiliency fund, to protect you in the event na may mawalan ng trabaho or the breadwinner dies, no, God forbid, no, mawala ang 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 spouse na may trabaho, no, syempre financial shock yan sa family because wala nang income na papasok pero yung gastos ay nandyan pa rin, no. That's why sa ating Freedom for All, we really encourage na sa pamilya hindi lang dapat isa ang nagtatrabaho, no. As much as possible dapat both spouses are productively, not necessarily employed, but parehong spouses should be productive, no, financially, no. Ibig sabihin, kung si Mr. ay may trabaho, pumapasok sa opisina, baka po pwede rin na si Mrs. ay merong maliit na negosyo or activity sa bahay na nakaka-generate ng additional income para sa pamilya, no? Para sa kanilang pamilya. So that in the event na magkaroon ng unemployment si Mr., meron pa rin tayong pagkukunan ng konting kita doon sa ginagawa ni Mrs., no? So it's very important na spouses should, ang mag-asawa ay parehong nagtutulungan, parehong nag-aakyat ng income sa kanilang tahanan. Para in the event na may mangyari sa isa, no, hindi matindi ang financial shock na mararamdaman ng pamilya. So that's why a resiliency fund is very important, no. Sabi ko nga kanina kay Josh, kung ang mga Pilipino ay nagtabi ng pera nila na good for 6 to 8 months, no, equivalent to 6 to 8 months ng kanilang monthly living expenses, no. So hindi sana stressful sa mga families ngayon ang itong stay-at-home policy natin dahil because of the savings that you were able to generate, no, you have a buffer fund equivalent to 6 to 8 months. Malaki ang may tutulong nun, no? Malaki ang may tutulong nun. Habang inaantay natin na mag-open up ulit ang economy, no? Makabalik tayong lahat sa trabaho at mas-solve natin itong problema sa coronavirus. So, but unfortunately, marami sa atin ay hindi nagpa-practice ng magtabi ng savings, nag-practice mag-save ng kanilang ng konti. So, marami talaga nahihirapan sa panahong ito. Okay? Next item is number 3 is we really need to eliminate the habit of maintaining consumer debt. No? Ito ay isa sa malaking suliranin nating mga Pilipino. No? Mahilig tayong umutang pambili ng kung ano-ano mga bagay, damit, pagkain, no? Especially kung may mga fiesta, bibili ng lechon, uutangin pa yung pambili ng lechon. No? So, why do we discourage maintaining consumer debt, no? Kasi yung pangungutang, okay naman yung pangungutang kung yung inutang mo will generate additional revenue. But if you're going to consume yung pera na inutang mo, it will not generate anything. Okay? So, kung binili mo ng lechon para may ihanda ka sa piyesta, so tomorrow, pagkatapos ng piyesta, may babayaran kang utang, pero walang inakyat na revenue yung inutang mo, no? So dinagdagan mo lang yung obligasyon mo, yung financial obligation mo. So this is one habit, no, na I think na dapat i-reduce nating mga Pilipino. Kasi tayong marami sa atin yung alam mo yung mauubusan ng pera pero yabang hindi. Kahit hindi kaya bibili ng kung ano-ano kasi gusto nating magpa-impress siguro, kasama tayong ganyan. Kahit hindi kaya ng ating budget, pipilitin or uutang. Walang kakayanan para bumili ng kotse, uutang ng pera para bumili ng kotse, pero pwede namang mag-commute or pwede namang some other ways, no? So, this is really a big challenge, no? So, to become financially resilient, I think we really need to eliminate the habit of maintaining consumer debt. Or kung hindi man talaga maiwasan na yung itong tinatawag nating pangungutang, at the very least i-maintain natin yung consumer debt natin sa tinatawag nating debt to equity, debt to income ratio na 10%. No? So, ibig sabihin, if you are earning 10,000 pesos a month, dapat yung utang mo hindi lumalampas ng 1,000 sa kada buwan, no? So, yung debt to income ratio should be limited to 10% or less, no? As far as consumer debt is concerned. Debt to income ratio rather. So, ito very important ito yung consumer debt. Dapat ito talaga ay ma-control or mawala. Kasi marami tayong mga kababayan uubos ang pera sa damit, sa pang weekend, uutangin pa yung pamamasyal, no? So, kinakailangan natin na maging very responsible, no? In terms of utilization of our finance, no? Ng ating pera, no? Okay. Next item. Number 4 is, okay, we've been hearing a lot of complaints about, alam mo, di ko kasi sapat yung kinikita namin eh. So, baon kami sa utang kasi kulang na kulang talaga. Well, we really encourage that people to establish additional income stream. No? We should not depend on a single income stream. No? That's why, a while ago, I said, kung maaari, dapat hindi lang sa mag-asawa, hindi dapat isa lang ang nagtatrabaho or isa lang ang may nag-generate ng income. As much as possible, we really encourage that both spouses should generate revenue for the family. No? So, not necessarily na pareho silang employed. No? Dapat we should establish additional income stream for the family. That is one way of managing risks. No? So, kung ang mister ay empleyado, so pwedeng si Mrs. empleyado din, or kung silang dalawa ay parehong nagtatrabaho, pwede namang at the end of the week, meron silang gagawin na makapag-generate sila ng additional income. No? I have certain friends na who are working with the government, and then in the afternoon, meron pa silang mga sideline, no? Na ginagawa sa bahay, na pwedeng ibenta the following day. No? So these small activities can generate additional revenue for the family. And secondly, this is also a very good training for the kids, no? Sa mga anak natin sa bahay. Kung nakikita nila na ang mga magulang ay maliban sa trabaho, ay merong mga economic activity sa bahay para madagdagan ang kanilang income, magandang training din ito para sa mga anak. Okay? Next is number 5, secure adequate health, life, and disability insurance. Okay? So marami ang takot pag narinig nila yung word na insurance. But my friends, my dear friends, napaka-importante ng insurance protection sa ating lahat, no? Mabuti nga yung mga sasakyan natin, no? O yung mga sasakyan natin merong insurance. Yung mga breadwinner sa family, walang life insurance, walang health insurance, no? So napaka-importante ho ng insurance because just like yung illness, no? Hindi naman natin alam kung kailan tayo magkakasakit or kung anong klase ng sakit ang pwedeng dumapo sa atin. But if we have insurance coverage and God forbid may magkasakit sa atin or dapuan tayo ng sakit, at least hindi tayo magre-resort agad sa utang para panggastos natin sa hospitalization, no? Meron tayong insurance na pwedeng sumagot doon sa ating mga pangangailangang medikal. So, yan, that's number 1. Number 2, what if suddenly mamatay si nanay or si tatay, no? So, kung yung breadwinner, kung si tatay ang breadwinner, and suddenly may nangyari hindi maganda sa kanya, nawala siya. So, kung may life insurance si tatay, kahit pa paano may matatanggap ang pamilya na na na, na, na salapi, no? Para ipantawid sa mga panahon na nag-a-adjust sila sa pagkawala ng kanilang tatay, no? Napaka-importante ho nun, no? Kasi kung minsan marami tayong narinig ng mga stories na breadwinner, ang father na wala, and then suddenly ang misis wala ding trabaho, ang negosyo, ang mga anak maliliit pa. So, natataranta ang pamilya anong gagawin, no? Saan kukuha ng gatas para sa mga anak na maliliit? Saan kukuha ng pagkain para sa mga anak? Kasi lahat nakaasa doon sa ama o sa tatay na siya lamang ang nagtatrabaho. So, ito yung mga situation na ina-address, no? Na kung saan ay magiging more financially resilient ang family kung meron tayong ganitong tinatawag na insurance, no? Either health or life or disability insurance. Disability, pwede din naman kasi yung breadwinner, hindi naman nagkaroon ng disgrasya, hindi siya namatay, pero pwede namang disabled na siya. So, hindi na rin siya makaka-generate ng additional income. So, because of the disability insurance, kahit na paano, may matatanggap ang pamilya na tulong or pera para ito pantustos sa pangangailangan ng pamilya habang nag-a-adjust ang buong pamilya sa bagong sitwasyon na kung saan ay nagkaroon ng naging disabled breadwinner sa family. So, insurance is really very important. This is for the protection of the family. So, yun ang mga tips na share ko sa inyo this afternoon. Actually, there are so many items that we can do to improve our capability, to improve our financial condition. No? So, ulitin ko yung sinare ko this afternoon. Number one, we have to evaluate our current financial condition para malaman natin kung ano ang sitwasyon, ang sitwasyong pananalapi ng ating pamilya. Number two, kung wala man tayong emergency fund, I think this is really the best time to do it, no? Kasi kailangan gawin na importante talaga na meron tayong emergency fund, no? Kasi hindi natin alam kung anong po pwedeng mangyari tomorrow, anong po pwedeng kaharapin natin ng mga suliranin ng ating pamilya. That's why it's very important that we have a standby fund, a form of resiliency fund na nandoon sa bangko, no? Ilagay natin sa bangko. Ito yung pinapayo ko sa mga estudyante, no, after they graduate in college, no. Huwag niyo muna isipin yung bumili ng kotse, bumili ng bahay, magpatayo ng bahay, bumili ng lupa. Bago ninyo gawin yun, unahin natin yung pag-establish ng resiliency fund. And kung yan ay nagawa na natin, no, nakapagtabi na tayo ng pondo sa bangko, no, then that's the time we entertain ideas about, no, investments, no, gusto nating gawin, gusto nating magpatayo ng bahay, bumili ng lupa, no? Because yung fund na yan, yung resiliency fund na yan, yan yung ating standby emergency fund. In the event na may mangyari sa ating pamilya o may mangyari sa atin, no, meron tayong cash na readily magagamit, no, para sa ating mga gastusin, no. So, yan. So, eliminate the habit of maintaining consumer debt. No? Ito is actually malaking concern, no? And then, we establish multiple income streams. And then, if we have an extra money, no, we can start securing health, life, and disability insurance. Okay? So, napakadali. So, I hope with those 5 items, no, nakapag-share ako sa inyo ng mga ideas on how to become more financially resilient, especially nowadays na we are experiencing, no, this is actually very, very difficult for everybody, yung situation ngayon.
Thank you, Sir Joman, for that very simple yet actionable presentation. No, parang lima lang siya. Yung lima na yun na mga tips na sinare mo, that could mean a huge difference in terms of how we are going to deal with or face the future uncertainties. Now, Sir Joman, for those who just joined us in the conversation, gusto ko lang i-clarify yung sinasabi mo na building a financial resiliency fund. This is usually sinasabi mo a 6 months or 8 months, or in the case of the pandemic, I would say maybe as much as 18 months, no?
Kasi actually, if you look at it, yes. Actually, Josh, yung 6 to 8 months kasi, that's the standard, no? Sa mga financial planning courses, no? That's the standard na sinasabi na kasi ang tinitingnan dyan is in the event na maka-experience ka ng unemployment, displacement, ano, or something happens to the family, may nagkasakit and you really need a big amount of money. So ito yung pagkukunan mo, no? But I think nobody imagined na alam mo na itong pandemic na to na ang tinitingnan ng time frame natin yung development ng vaccine. It's actually 10 to 18 months, no? So for as long as walang vaccine, no, or wala tayong tinatawag na effective therapeutic medical or therapeutic medicines na available for treatment, no, I think very challenging talaga sa ating lahat, and mahirap talaga and very risky yung, alam mo na, yung babalik lang tayo sa nakagawian natin.
Sir Joman, I just have to ask this question in behalf of Glenda, no? Glenda Serna, sabi ni Glenda. Sir, hi Sir Joman, what is the ideal way of saving ba for the Financial Resiliency Fund? Is it income less expenses or savings muna po bago ang expenses? Yan, that is a very common question. Ano daw yung ideal way of saving?
Actually, ang practice ng mga Pilipino, palagi mong maririnig, mahirap mag-save eh. Kasi kulang yung kinikita ko eh. Di ba? Yan palagi nating naririnig. Mahirap mag-save kasi kulang yung kinikita ko. But actually, Josh, it's actually a question of mindset eh. It will always be a question of mindset. So, do you really want to save? No? So if you really want to save, you really have to really to convince yourself that I have to do it. No? So, ang tamang ang tamang proseso dyan is unahin mo yung pagtatabi mo ng savings. No? Unahin mo yung pagtatabi mo ng savings. Kasi kung unahin mo yung expense, yung mga gastusin mo, wala talagang matitira. Okay? So, we are promoting yung kay Senator Elizabeth Warren na formula, no? Yung savings formula niya, 50-30-20 rule, no? 50 is for all your needs, 30 for your wants, and then yung 20% for your savings. So, baliktarin lang natin yon. Unahin mo yung 20%. Unahin mo yung pagtatabi mo ng... I suggest kung voluntary kasi mahirap eh. But if you do it, that's why it's very important that, sinabi ko nga the last time we talked, Josh, na it's not only the individual. Business organizations should also look after the interest of their employees, no? So, kung pwedeng gawin natin na mandatory yung savings generation, mas maganda yan. No? Para yung matatanggap ng empleyado, net na, hindi niya na magagalaw hindi niya na pwedeng galawin yung savings niya kasi naka-deduct na kaagad yun, naka-input na kaagad yun. So, I think yung likelihood na maging successful yung pagtatabi pag-build up ng emergency fund, mas mataas ang success rate kung hindi na natin yun pahawak sa empleyado. No? So, yes. Kasi talaga pag nahawakan mo talaga, ubos yan. No? So,
is it safe to say, sir, na ang pinakamalaking challenge natin, no, sa mga Pilipino in general, in terms of building a financial resiliency, is the mindset shift?
Yes, it's really the mindset. It's really the mindset. It's really the mindset because kung hindi ka kumbinsido, yung iba nga kumbinsido na, hindi pa kayang gawin. Diba? Narinig ko nga, gusto ko talaga hindi ko magawa. Diba? So, diba? it all begins in mind, in your head, eh, diba? So you really have to convince yourself that I really need to do it, and then you set up a mechanism, that will reinforce that particular mindset, diba? So if you can talk to your employer, so kung tayo, yung mga kasambahay, pwedeng sabihan mo yung kasambahay mo, tulungan kita ha, na makapag-save. So yung 10% o yung 20% ng yung salary, itatabi natin. Hindi mo magagalaw yan. So yan yung diretso sa bangko. No? Yan ang diretso sa bangko. Kasi marami kang naririnig, Josh, marinig natin to Josh na, bakit kayo mag-save sa bangko? Wala naman yung interest dyan. Or hindi naman talaga nakikita yung pera mo dyan. Ganito, ganyan. Well, totoo. Hindi ka dapat magtabi ng pera sa bangko for investment reasons. No? Magtabi ka ng pera sa bangko for liquidity purposes. Diba? Because yung pera, obviously, yung pera na sa bangko, mas safe kaysa yung pera na sa lalim ng unan mo. Diba? So if you want to practice discipline and para hindi mo magalaw yung savings mo, lagay mo sa bangko. No? So,
isa sa mga parang standout conversations ngayon during the pandemic is a lot of people on social media are actually saying, I realized that life could be this simple, that I can get away with, that I can live without all these fancy things that I used to have, before the COVID-19.
You can live pala without the malls.
Yeah. So there are so many things na mga usap-usapan na ito lang pala kailangan ko, life can be so simple yet you can be contented and happy. I-relate ko lang siya doon sa second point mo, doon sa point mo of assessing your financial status, because mini-mention mo na you have to revisit your monthly expenses, right? And maybe isa sa mga pwedeng advice natin sa kanila doon is look at the expense mo doon or look at the items doon sa expenses mo na pwede mong let go or kaya...
Yes, pwede mong look at the variable expenditures.
Yes, variable.
Because doon sa... Yes, if you look at the fixed expense, wala kang magagawa doon kasi fixed niya eh. Diba? Actually, for purposes of financial planning, meron pa rin. Like, for example, when I said let us revisit your financial condition, Josh, I forgot to mention na if you have financial obligations with financial institutions, like may mga utang ka, no? And then because of this pandemic, it has the current situation has affected your cash flow, no? Negatively. So you really have to check ano ba yung mga babayaran ko sa bangko, babayaran ko sa credit card, babayaran ko sa lending or sa kung saan man dyan, no? You really have to check kung may capacity ka pa to pay all these financial obligations. Now, after revisiting after reviewing your financial condition and you realize that you don't have enough financial resources to address all these things, then you should start talking. Diba? You try to visit the bank, you try to visit your creditor, and then renegotiate. Pwede bang habaan natin yung term ko muna, and then pwede bang gawin nating balloon payment? There are so many things you can do so that yung financial stress that you experience today mabawasan. No? But you have to talk to these institutions na yung mga pinagkakautangan mo so that they can also help you, 'di ba? Ma-restructure yung loan mo, because lahat naman, I think, 'di ba, ang central bank nga nagsabi na binibigyan ng 30-day grace period yung mga may utang, and yung mga landlords, they are encouraged not to wag mo nang maningil ng mga rent, 'di ba? So, alam mo, lahat naman 'yan na pag-uusapan. No? So, in assessing your financial condition, please try to also look on your financial obligation. No? Kasi pumirma ka diyan sa mga kontrata na 'yan. So, I think the responsible thing to do is to talk to them, no, and discuss ano ba yung mga mga options mo so that ma-address mo yung financial obligation sa kanila, and at the same time, ma-reduce mo rin yung financial stress na na-experience mo right now. Yes, yes.
So thank you so much, Sir Joman.
Yun.
Very insightful discussion this afternoon. You guys, thank you at salamat sa mga nag-join sa atin. I hope that you learned a lot from the discussion. No? Kung bago lang kayo nag-join sa ating usapan today, you can actually replay this episode and you can learn about the 5 tips na sinare ni Sir Joman sa ating lahat para tayo maging financial resilient. So, to recap, I just would like to highlight these points na nakuha ko kay Sir Joman sa kanyang presentation. Sabi dito, financial resiliency should be a core competence of every Filipino. Every Filipino or every family. Lahat tayo kailangan core competency natin itong financial resiliency. At kanina na-discuss natin how to become financially resilient. And also to address the common mindset that financial resiliency is only for people na merong income or surplus of income. Actually, financial resiliency is for everybody. So, halimbawa ikaw ay mababa or wala kang maraming revenue streams ngayon or mababa yung income potential mo ngayon, hindi excuse na hindi ka maging financially resilient dahil wala ka namang ibang source of income. So, the answer to that is that, sabi ni Sir Joman, you have to increase your earning capacity, or you have to find ways so that you will have other revenue streams. So, I think maybe next time, Sir Joman, pag-usapan natin, ano naman tong mga revenue streams, no? Additional revenue streams na pwede nating i-suggest sa ating mga listeners so that wala na talaga tayong excuse not to be financially resilient. And,
actually, Josh, the only limit is your imagination.
I like that.
The only limit is your imagination, right?
Yeah, and there has to be a change of mindset, guys. No, ang pinaka-barrier natin is yung mindset natin. When you think that we cannot, and then talagang hindi natin kaya siyang gawin. So, the limit should, sabi mo, sir, the limit should only be your imagination?
Yes. The only limit is your imagination, di ba?
Yeah.
Actually, you can sell anything, di ba? Provided the people will see value to what you are selling, di ba?
Yes, yes. And I think the significance of our discussion is not just for the sake of having a financially resilient future, but it's really more of collectively as a Filipino, as Filipino families or as a family, is how do we prepare for the future uncertainties or for the future possibilities as the COVID-19 crisis, no? And that will have an impact or effect, no? That it will have a trickle effect doon sa hindi lang sa family natin, kundi pati on the government performance, the government response.
Yes, the ability.
How collectively as a nation we are able to respond to the needs of the people during such crisis. So, hindi siya something na...
Yes, hindi naman, Josh, hindi natin dapat iasa lahat sa gobyerno.
Yes, yes.
Kailangan tayo mismo mga Pilipino, tayo mismo igagawa dapat ng paraan upang ma-improve ang ating current condition. No? So the government is there to provide additional assistance, additional help, diba? But the business of surviving is our personal responsibility.
Yes,
diba?
I like that. The business of surviving is our personal responsibility. Again, guys, thank you so much. And hopefully, next week, yung ating part 2 of the series will be about community resiliency naman. So, again, sinasabi natin na a financially resilient Filipino or family makes a financially resilient community. But there has to be a certain type of system and structure for this to kind of sync and be put together in a way that it's going to be an effective mechanism for all of us. So, Sir Joman, again, thank you for your time, for your generous time. Say hi to everybody sa dyan sa Bukidnon. I hope that you guys stay safe. I know that you are always out in the community. I've been following your Facebook pages over the past 2 months, and I really appreciate and I am so inspired by what you guys are doing to help our kababayan in Bukidnon cope with the crisis that we're experiencing today. So, I'll see you next week for the part 2 of the series, and I hope that you guys also who are watching today will join us next week and will invite your friends. And please, like the video, share the video so that a lot of our friends or Filipinos can hear about the amazing topic that we discussed today and makatulong din tayo sa mga ibang kababayan natin. Thank you so much. And again, dito sa Learning Tuesday, we value the learning that we can provide to you kahit na nasa mga bahay kayo or stuck kayo sa inyong mga respective places. You guys stay safe and we'll see you soon next week here sa Learning Tuesday.
Inyong nabati ang programang Kinasingkasing nga Pag-Alagad sa unang distrito sa lalawigan sa Bukidnon. Daghang salamat.
Mao kadto ang binayran nga programa. Unsa man ang mga opinyon, desisyon o komentaryo, iya lamang sa mga magsisibya ug walay labot ang tagdumala